Hi, I'm trying for the third time to have this live. Let's see if it works. Because if it does, I don't know, I'll have a party. So 10. Yes, I passed. Super. Hello, Sensuals. It's been quite a while since I've seen you. I've had an unpleasant event and I'm moving past it. And once I move past it, I'll talk about it because it makes sense for us. But today I chose a neutral topic, although it's a very tough one, let me assure you. So, the link between sex and money. And the structure that I have for our live is the following. The first topic that I will address is actually why I chose this topic. And yeah, that it's very important to understand actually. And the second topic is, or the second point that I want to make is about, well, 5 links that I see between sex and money. 5 links which I believe are important. There are many more, but these are the ones that I mainly work with, and these are the ones that I talk about a lot. And the third topic is actually the Zen approach to this subject. So, as I said, this is not an easy one. And from my perspective, it makes sense to have this Zen approach. And it's the most neutral way. It's the way that will actually help you to progress faster than other ways, I guess. So that being said, I'd like to get into the video, so I'll just shoot for it. And the first subject that I wanted to talk about is why I chose this topic. Many people that come to coaching are actually in a challenging time in their intimate lives. And when I dig a little deeper to find out what happens aside from their, what happens outside their intimacy, because the thing is, the major things that happen in your life will have an impact in your sex life. And it's the same thing, vice versa. So if something major happens in your intimate life, it's going to have an impact on other areas of your lives. So it makes sense to look outside of their intimate relationship, even if I don't work with them on, a plethora of areas. So I just work on sexuality. But many people that come to me are in this place where they're challenged or unsatisfied in their intimate life. And chances are they are challenged or unsatisfied in their professional life, especially in the money-making department. So that's not a coincidence. That is really not a coincidence. And I do find this, what do you call it? Well, coincidence. Well, it's not a coincidence, but I find this coincidence, huh? So I find this similarity between their intimate lives, their sexuality, and their financial lives, or their financial aspects. And I've had this too, and I notice it because I think that all events that happen to us are cyclical. I notice it also with me. Whenever I go through a transformation in my sex life, I also go through a transformation in my professional life. Well, now it's kind of obvious because I work in sexuality. So if I have a challenge, I'll probably, if I have a challenge on sexuality, it'll be super tough for me to work with somebody in their sex life. So I need to take a break and really mend myself and then be able to work with others. So in my case, if I have a challenge in my intimate life, yeah, it's gonna be quite visible in my income. But aside from that, so I'm an exception here, it's visible for the majority of people that come to me. If there's scarcity in their sex life, somehow there is a lower income or even blockage in their financial life. And blockage, actually, we'll get into that as well, what it means to be blocked sexually and what it means to be blocked financially. The idea is that there is a very strong connection here, and it is related to our self-worth. And these are 2 areas, and I'm actually going to address now the 5 main links that I see between sex and money. And the first one is that both sex and money are really main aspects of our lives. We invest a lot of energy into them. So this is the first link, and actually it's connected to the reason why I'm having this talk and why I ask people that come to me, okay, you're having these troubles in your sex life, how's your financial life? And it's, again, there's a match. So the reason why we are mostly dependent, so these are the main areas of our lives, is because we spend a lot of time, even as we're growing up, either, and sometimes doing both, either to develop. So we learn, we go to school, we go to high school, we go to college, we go to master's degree, we go to doctor's degree. We do a lot of efforts, we go to a lot of trainings. Why? To prepare ourselves to get a good job, to get a really big income. And this is planned out for us from the time we're 7 until at least the time we're, 22, 24, when we graduate school, the majority of us. So this is with money. And with sexuality, well, the majority of us, even when we're little, we spend a lot of time thinking, dreaming about, well, little girls getting married and having a lover and having these amazing or beautiful romantic life, and, well, boys about conquest, not in the early years, okay? So with guys or with boys, it can be a little later on, like when they're 14, 15. And that's because that's the time they admit it, because they think about it really early, but they just don't, it's not, cool for a guy to admit that. So we have this drive within us, and we dream about it. We read it in books, we see it in movies, we see it in cartoons, at least the cartoons that I used to watch when I was a kid. Nowadays, that has changed a bit. And it's a major area where we invest, as in we spend a lot of time dating or developing ourselves. What nowadays is more common, to develop yourself in relationship, in picking up. Like, there are pickup artists out there who will help you with this. We spend a lot of time watching X-rated movies or porn movies, or we read a lot of erotica. And so there's also this really old song. It was "The Internet is for Porn." I think you know it. So a lot of the things that we do go either in the area of develop yourself to get a good income, or develop yourself to get the attention of the opposite sex, to have not necessarily a lifelong partner, but many partners, so you're not alone, basically. And this is why, again, this is the first link between them. We spend a lot of time here. And both of these things, and this is the second link, they go to our self-worth. So when they are blocked, in the case of money, when money is blocked for us, or our ability to make money is blocked for us, first and foremost, and then the actual income, then we experience a lot of fear and a lot of desperation, because obviously that the money, and you can, instead of money, you can put here material resources or goods that come to us, services that comes to us that are needed for us to survive. Well, if these are missing, we obviously go into fear and despair, because our own existence is at threat, or at least this is how we perceive it, the majority of us. Some people are more, what is it called? Ascetic, so they don't really need much, but those are the exceptions. Like, most people need quite a lot of things to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel like they're not just surviving, but that they're thriving. And when sexuality is blocked, and here, as I said with money, first of all, our ability to express ourselves sexually and to relate to our sexual energy, and then the actual ability to have sex with people and the opportunities to have sex with people. So when these two are blocked, then we go through a lot of frustration and really low self-esteem issues, because our ability to express ourselves, to receive love and to give love and physical connection really speaks volumes about our worth in the world. And this is how we perceive it. We perceive it as being rejected, left behind, we feel alone, we feel insecure. So blockages can really do that to us. And when these two areas, either one of them or both of them at the same time, are blocked, that's a major crisis for the majority of us. And it doesn't, like, you can be blocked with money even if you're having a job. And so your ability to earn the income that you want, and you can be blocked with sexuality even if you're in a relationship. So we all know that, but I'm putting the obvious here. So what do blockages look like? Because it's also important to understand that. In the case of money, blockages can manifest themselves either through our inability to spend money in a very rational or responsible way. So we just squander them here and there. We make them and then we just waste them all. We don't have anything put aside, and we can't really ensure our most important needs. We just spend them for whatever, on impulse in most cases, or on vices. That's one way of being blocked. Basically, your ability to keep them and to spend them as your best interest is blocked. And it can look like that. You can squander it and you can spend, irrationally. And the other way it looks like, no matter how much, what your income is, because blockage does not mean that you're having zero income. Like, that's the most extreme kind of blockage. But the most common one, you have a certain amount of income, but you behave and you think that you don't have enough. And your mentality is that of scarcity. And what you do is that you seek a lot of promotions, sales, special offers. So basically, opportunities for you to spend money in a very cheap way, as you perceive it, or as it is portrayed to you. The blockage here being that offers and reductions or sales or promotions, they are chosen by the producers, so they're not chosen by you. The timing is chosen by the producers, sellers, or whoever has the actual products. And they're also, so you're not choosing the timing nor the things themselves. You just search and you see what is out there available, and you go for that, no matter if you need it or not at the time. And the attitude that goes with it is one of competition, of urgency, like it has to be now. It's usually super fast. And it's the competition can sometimes, it's not just with yourself, so it's not just a time challenge or an effort to get to the store or whatever that sale is, but sometimes it's a competition with other people. Like, you've seen a lot of images, when big stores open up and there are masses of people crowding at the entrance, and then when the doors open, it's like war zone over there, and it's a minefield. People run like crazy and they step on each other and they hurt each other. That's the kind of attitude. And those are people that unfortunately cannot generate a harmonious income, and they cannot generate opportunities for them to relax and to think about what they're doing, why they're buying, what they're buying. So it's because it's not their choice. It's somebody else's choice, and they're being rushed into it and forced into it. And it's gruesome. And usually people who are financially in flow, they choose their own timing. They choose their own products that they want to buy. And they even choose, they have a multitude of choices, and they don't go for sales. They choose according to other preferences. They're more relaxed, and they relate with people who have broader perspectives. So their perspective is not on survival and urgency and immediacy. Their perspective is on a long run. It's relaxed. It's in, let's create opportunities and offers here, and growth for everybody. This is the opposite of a blocked mentality when it comes to money. Now, blockage when it comes to sexual partners, or sexuality, basically, first of all, it's your ability, like you're not even aware of your ability to express yourself sexually and to keep your sexual energy in flow. And this is quite common because, first of all, we're not educated. The majority of us were not taught from a younger age to relate to our body. The instinct to feel our own sexuality, although it is innate, it's pretty cut out from the, well, close to the root early on, and we lose track of this, and that's how we get blocked. This is how we're messed up, basically. So sexual blockage can look like, again, in putting this in a mirror, in two ways. Either somebody has a lot of partners, tons of partners, they don't commit to them, they have 1 week partners, one night stands, a month sometimes, that can be long for some people, especially when they're blocked. And it's only superficial. So it's just a quantity, but not quality. It's diversity, but it's not going in depth. And that's one way of being blocked. So it's you go into sexuality only to a certain extent. And the other way that sexuality is blocked is when you either don't have partners for long periods of time, and I'm talking years here. And I would know this from experience because I've lived it, and it is possible. You don't have partners for years and years. Sometimes you don't miss them. Sometimes you miss them and it kills you inside, but you're not aware what you can do. Or you get partners, but you get partners and you stay in a relationship that is unfitting for you because of fear that, you can't do any better than that. And again, this is also very common. Unfortunately, the fear of the unknown keeps us in a relationship where we're blocked. So this is another way in which blocked sexuality looks like. Hello, Soreen. We're pretty, we are, I don't know, 17 minutes in, but we still have a long way to go. So welcome. Okay, that was the second way in which the sex and money are linked. Now, the third way, they are tied to our biggest fears and our deepest wounds. So basically, through the partners that we're attracting in intimacy, or through the partners that we're attracting in our business life, it can be employers, it can be employees, sometimes it can be business collaborators. And when it comes to sexuality, husbands, fiancés, even one-night stands, if you really pay attention to those, you will see similarities. So basically, in these relationships, so through these people, you can see for yourself, if you really look at them, the way you, how you think that what your value, what your worth is. So if you accept lovers that are mistreating you, that are disrespecting you, that are, they take you just to pass time and so on, and you realize this and you still stay there, that makes you, that shows you one of your wounds in sexuality. And it is linked also to your financial sector, because if you stay in jobs where you're mistreated, you misused or exploited, basically, you're insufficiently rewarded for them, and you work overtime, or you're pushed to work more and more and more, but you're not rewarded enough, and you still stay there, that shows you a wound in your in your self-worth, because sex and money are all about self-worth. And the way we are expressing in these two areas, either we're wounded, let's stay with this point, so we accept a lot of things that are unhealthy to us. And the big, what am I going to call it here? The big joke, for lack of a better word now, the big joke on us is that you hear this line or this phrase, take a look around you. This is what happens in the majority of places, whether it's relationships or workplaces. So this is the big joke on us. Yes, it's very frequent. This is true, but it doesn't have to be like that. And it requires a lot of inner strength and self-esteem to say, you know what? fuck this relationship, fuck this, I'm sorry for being so blunt, but anyway, fuck this workplace. This is not what I need right now. So it's a very, for you to step out of this, so step out of your wound, whether it comes to sexuality or your financial sector, it really requires a lot of stamina and self-esteem and guts and courage to go against the social current. Yes, this third link is widespread. Hi, Adrian. We're 20 minutes in and we're not done. So I hope you also get to watch the replay because there are many things which I just spoke about. So those are worth seeing. Okay, the fourth link that I see in sexuality and money is that they are about relationships. And when I say relationships, first of all, because this is what I said in earlier, that sex and money, well, they are related to our self-worth. So the first relationship that we actually see when it comes to analyzing our sex life or the way we're expressing sexuality, or the first relationship that we see when we're analyzing our financial life and our ability to make money, is our relationship to ourselves. Are we strong enough? Do we believe enough in ourselves that when things are really rough and we don't see any other apparent solution inside, do we still go about it, screw this, I'm not taking this, I'm moving on? Or are we staying there? Are we compromising? Are we expecting maybe things to change? Are we starting to make some change within us? If we feel that we're not strong enough, are we doing something to get stronger? So this is how these two areas, which are quite important, show, first of all, our relationship to ourselves. And it's visible through the dialogue that we have in our mind. Like, what do we tell ourselves when we're struggling, when we're working through a challenge? What do we tell ourselves? This is not going to work. I can do this. I need help. I'll go ask for help. I don't care if other people laugh at me. So what is the internal dialogue also? That's the first indicator of your relationship to yourself, which is portrayed through these two, let's call them energies, for lack of a better word. The other, they are about relationships, and the other kind of relationships are the ones that you have with your with other people, so your external environment in a way. What kind of partners are you attracting in your sex life? Whether it's your partner for a lifetime, whether it's your serial monogamous person. So what is the partner? Hi, Florine. Even if we're talking about one night stands, what is the kind of partners that you're attracting? How do these partners treat you? That's going to show you your relationship with others. And it's the same in your business or life of an employee. What kind of partners are you attracting? Colleagues, employers, employees, collaborators, suppliers, and so on. What are the people that you are attracting in order to make supposedly abundance? What are they like? And how do they treat the business itself? How do they treat you as a partner? And in a way, how do they treat themselves also? These are mirrors for you as well. And I'm not saying that you should go and analyze, like go on this rampage of analyzing all your lovers and all your business partners because you're going to go insane. No, you can look at the most important ones. You can take a look there and see the kind of dynamic that you had in these two areas, and that's going to show you how you relate inadvertently. So even if you're not thinking, like maybe you see things that you don't like and you never thought that you would do that, trust me, you do that. It's just not that obvious. And it's really tough when you sit down and you analyze this. And I would know because, yes, I analyze this a lot with me. And the third kind of a relationship that these two areas show us is the relationship that we have with the environment. In your intimate life, what are your practices? What kind of products do you consume? What kind of places do you go to? So what is the impact of these things on the environment? I'm serious. When you start thinking about the environment, yeah, you're gonna start to think, okay, the fact that I buy condoms I don't know how many times. The fact that I take I don't know what kind of pills. The fact that I take God knows what kind of a lube. The fact that I take other toys which are made of plastic or rubber and so on, and how much I use them and where do I dispose of them and so on. Yes, it's going to go also to your relationship with the environment. It's pleasurable to you, but is it hurting the environment? And here, a very funny, and I'm going to, yeah, call it funny, a very funny perspective is eco-sexuality. Now, some people relate to eco-sexuality as in they're watching their footprint, their carbon footprint when it comes to their sex lives. Other people, they're kind of crazy and they go and not just have sex in nature, but sometimes they experience sexual highs or erotic highs with elements of nature. So they go on a rampage of hugging trees or just staying a lot of just making love to waters. They just go in water and they have this blissful states. They're kind of goofy. They're kind of crazy. I did watch a few videos. I'll put some links after the live is over. If you don't, I mean, if you just want to, you know, for the sake of amusing yourself or for the sake of really finding out what other people are doing, you can watch at least one of those videos. Now, moving on to your professional life, the business that you're developing, or the company that you work for, your suppliers, the people that you're choosing to make your financial abundance, what is their, or the business's, relationship with the environment? What is your footprint? Not just that it's trendy, yeah, it is trendy, but and not just that the current situation is like really screaming out in our face that it can't go on like this forever. But usually when people are more evolved in all their relationships, they start to wonder, okay, I'm making a lot of money here. What am I doing to the soil, the water resources, the air? What am I doing to forests or to the place that I depend on? So they become aware, okay, you know what? I can't live without this environment. Am I fooling myself or what? So your relationship, whether it's shown through sexuality or through money, with the environment is also important. And it's an indicator about yourself as well. And it is crucial. Even if it's not the most straightforward thing, it's still crucial for us. And what I see, because I'm going to go also with this, what I see a lot in many colleagues that I've had, not just in sexological bodywork, but also in the path of Tantra, many of them are also, and it's not a coincidence, they're going for organic products that are not so processed. They're going for spending more time in nature as a means to recharge themselves. So they understand that they're sexual, because this is, in my case, their job is also about sexuality. So their sexual well-being is very much linked to being in sync and in harmony with natural elements. And it does make sense. To your entire nature is linked to, you know, the environment. You can't really function well from all perspectives if you're not in sync with nature. Your sexuality is no different. So this is the fourth way in which sex and money show us about relationships. And the fifth link that I see is that they generate the most important transformations in our lives. So when you're looking at somebody who starts to develop in sexuality and somebody who starts to develop in finance, let's call it like that, or with their money, they're basically making a leap from a step of dependence. With money, let's look at it like that. They're depending on their families or on their caretakers. And when they start to develop their abilities to make money, and then the actual income starts to flow also, they get independent. This is the first transformation that we see. With sexuality, well, it's kind of the same. They are no longer dependent on their caretakers for their well-being, for their pleasure. They're seeking out their own ways, and they're seeking out ways to express their nature in a much more constructive, in a much better way. And it also steps out from what? Dependence, vice, fear, all the things that were imposed on us. So that's why they generate the most powerful, and I'm going to call it the primordial transformation for us. We're breaking away from our families in this way. We're breaking away from the people that we were dependent on, and we're starting to form our own life identity. We're stepping into our own powerful role. We're not how do I call it? Separate from other people. We're interdependent still. I have not seen yet one human being that can care for all his needs or her needs, and they don't need anybody else. I haven't seen that kind of person. Even the monks that go into caves to meditate, they still need other people to come check on them and bring them food once a month or something like that. And I'm serious also with this one. So we're still depending on people, but we're not, what do I call it? We are our own masters. We can choose. We have the ability to step away from the relationships that are not okay with us. We have the ability to go wherever we want and meet whatever people we want. So this is why when we develop here, we make the most important step. And what perspectives do these open for us? Relaxation, individuality, yes, freedom of choice, intellectual development, a higher perspective on life. And with some people, they start to get into charitable activities. They start to get into much more, I don't know, artistic or cultural activities. Some people into spiritual activities. So they look at things that are no longer at the bottom, at the survival mode. This is what, and it happens gradually. It doesn't happen all at once. So this is why I said that these sex and money are linked, and they are very important in our lives. Now, I said at the beginning that the third point was about the Zen approach. So as you can imagine, by the way, if you have questions, don't be shy. You can write them here and I'll start to answer them as well. So I said at the beginning that or I didn't say actually, I said that I'll just talk about the Zen approach. Life is cyclical, and so we go in cycles, but we also progress, and this is a spiral also. So things tend to repeat themselves, not necessarily if we do our homework and if we grow, they repeat, the same challenges may come back, but they don't come back as intensely as they came back the previous time. So we go through multiple processes of refining, of understanding lessons, of uncovering abilities, qualities, resources, and opening up new paths for us. That means that in cycles, we experience periods of expansion and periods of constriction. So in everybody's life, we can go through periods where we're abundant, in partners, in relationships, in sexuality. It flows in money, in opportunities. We're growing a lot of things. We're developing a lot of things, not just for us, but for many people around us. So we're flourishing. And then there come periods, after years sometimes, when things start to crumble in a way. And what that shows is basically that we've outgrown a stage, and it no longer, like that stage can, in most cases, it can be the same, but it's too narrow for us. And that's when it turns into a crisis. And we can feel blocked. Sometimes it can even come as an actual blockage. Lovers can leave us, money can go away, and so on. So it manifests itself in various forms, but the idea is that we're experiencing constriction. I'm not here to judge. So I'm not here to say you should never experience blockages. You should never experience constriction. Absolutely not. So the best approach here is actually to realize that it is natural. It's human. And if you're going through constriction, okay, basically that is a time when you're called to take decisions. That is a time when you're called to seek new solutions or seek help. And it's not to be judged, it's not to be shamed, it's not to be feared. Many personal development coaches, and there are many lines out there, bring only positivity, bring only your higher self, and you're only going to attract positive situations. And I hear those in many words. Like, they can be with the spiritual slang, or they can just be with the, I don't know, business slang, where, you know, you just got to get better. I mean, if you're going through this, it means you're not good, and yeah, you better work on it, because other people are gonna beat you to it. So and probably the language is different, but the idea is that no, that's not a healthy approach. And in spirituality, that's called bypassing, when you're not accepting the crisis that presented itself in front of you. And in, I don't know, in just plain old mundane terms, that's called ignorance. Everybody experiences challenges, and the way you relate to them is actually, and the way you face a challenge, the way you stay with it, and the way you stay there until you find solutions. So you don't despair, as in, oh my God, I'm never gonna find a solution here. Oh my God, I'm never gonna get past this. No, the way you face it is actually, first of all, your first indicator that you've learned some lessons in the past. And if you find yourself, I don't know, like everybody who's watching now, I don't know for everybody where they are with their sex life or with their financial life. But I do know that what you can do, in, first of all, this video is good for bringing you awareness as to the process and the links between them. The second thing that you need to do is, well, relax. Yeah, it's not going, you're not going to die, hopefully. Okay, bad joke. So you're not going to die out of this. It's just a crisis that calls for you to work on it. But what it also calls on for you is to actually have a very structured approach. And the approaches, although there are many similarities between sexuality and money, the approaches are not necessarily the same. I believe in very concrete and very palpable strategies for people. And the best ones are the strategies that they develop for themselves. But before the strategy, before it even comes, like before you even look at it, the foundation is your perspective. What do I feel like? What do I think about myself? Am I able to weather the, what is it called? The cold season in my life? I'm going through a cold season. Okay, am I going to get past this? Because if your foundation is not strong enough, is not good enough, then that's your first place where you need to work on. If it is good, okay, then you go to the second step where you get concrete and actual solutions. And those are the best ones, that they are personalized to your own situation. So from that perspective, I can't really give you with this video that solution. For that, I can encourage you to go work with people, like different people if you want, but the process is going to be in essence the same. It's going to be structured, it's going to be challenging for you, it's going to have a time frame, and it's going to require that you identify your resources, whether you're talking about sexuality or money making, the same thing. So that being said, I'm looking at, nobody asked questions. Like, I was super curious how many questions you guys would ask, or girls. By the way, so far I've only seen men joining. So, so I'm curious, do you have any questions about it? It's, this is not an easy one. And I've only tried to bring awareness here, but maybe there are things that you still need clarification. In case you saw enough of this live. If you didn't, then, you know, watch it after it's over and then drop me a question. So I'm still waiting to see who's going to write a question. Internet issues. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. I've had internet issues. This was the third time that I tried to to start the live. That's why I was late. So, okay. Then if nobody has them now, and it's okay, you can still think about them and you can write afterwards. And yeah, you can also, by the way, if you guys have not had a session with me yet, yes, like maybe you're not aware right now what's your situation, you can book a session with me. It's completely free of charge. And the first session is actually to offer you a strategic look on your sexuality. Yes, I can do that for money to a certain extent because I'm not trained in finances. I'm working on it for myself, but it's a different process still. But I can still pinpoint some things. And you can also identify your beliefs, by the way, sex and money. So it's usually very, it's something that I do for my community. And I encourage you to take this. You don't have to work with me afterwards. It can just be a one time where you get some clarity, some sense of direction, and then you're on your way. So, and otherwise, I will try to figure out who actually works, especially with money, not just in Romania. So I'll try to figure out people that work on this area for your lives, in case you've not done this so far. So people are quiet with questions. Okay, maybe it's all understood and so perfect and you're just getting to work. But yeah, still write them if you have them afterwards. And I will see you next week with the monthly live, where I already have 4 questions lined up. And if you have questions, I can also take it in that live. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you have a beautiful Friday evening or Friday afternoon. And yeah, see you next week. And have orgasmic and intense and beautiful and rich lives.